Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We got a double dev blog for you. One of which is pretty quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. It is the Battle Pass announcement, the 4th season of 2025, which is going to be the Winchester 1887. The lever action shotgun, classic of Westerns, very famous weapon, very American weapon. So you can see that's what the Battle Pass weapon is going to be. This is going to release tomorrow. I'll get this gun as soon as I can and do a video on it. So those of you that don't know if you want to buy this battle pass or something like that, or maybe want to skip it, we'll be able to know pretty quickly. As for the vehicles, we're gonna have a P40E and a Chi recolor, so those are kind of cool. And then a Gorilla, which I believe this is the first Gorilla Gold Order soldier, unique soldier, I suppose is the term to use these days, which is pretty cool. And then we've got a radio operator for Germany. So there you go. That's the battle pass. Now on to the thing that's actually really, really interesting. We have sit rep number 1 from Operation Transparency. Now, this looks to be something that is going to obviously be from the developers talking about their plans, talking about what they're doing. Now, Major McDonald has stated on stream as many times at this point that this is something that he's been working on for a long time, really trying to get the devs to be more transparent with how they interact with the community and how they work on the game. And I think this is kind of the final release or the final iteration of that. So let's take a look at what they're saying. So it says, they always are reading our feedback and they're always paying attention to us, and they like to hear what we're saying. But they say that they understand that they could do a lot better to describe our plans before they publish them during updates. And so that's what this is going to be, a report of the current situation by our community managers, a sit rep, if you will. So they're saying, we're happy, this is a disclaimer, we're happy to share development updates before the dev blog server and update itself, but please note that anything mentioned in the news may be changed, delayed, or canceled. Enlisted is constantly developed and goes through anything that any changes you might expect from the game. And I think that is something that is really important. And this is something that I know that Enlisted has had a problem with in the past, where people have been like, oh, you said you were going to do this thing, but then you didn't do it. It's like, okay, well, that's how development works. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like it's kind of weird. Enlisted is almost in like this time bubble where it like doesn't exist outside of the game itself. Like, do you guys that complain like that like not play other video games? I don't know. It's kind of wild to me that this is something they even have to say, because this is something that it's just like, yeah, every other game I've ever played in my life that's a live service game does this. So like, I don't get it. Anyway, moving on. So they're reflecting on the jet power major update. They said the main feature was, of course, the introduction of a new vehicle type. They're eager how it impacted. They had some responses and criticism with the updates where they ended up buffing some of the vehicles, especially the Kika, which got a big bomb, and had the ME262 had its belt changed not once but twice, where they did the server and then the major update, right? So that's good. They said that there's some concerns they've seen revolving around the power of the U.S. jets, the Meteor and the F-80. They have heard and solutions are being internally discussed alongside monitoring the longer-term views of players towards jets. And, oh, well, we'll see that. This is really interesting. Well, I'll say that in a second. But I wanted to say my thoughts on this. I think this is correct. I think it's good to talk about this internally, but I think that it is definitely correct for them to wait, because people are always going to have a very knee-jerk reaction to jets. And I feel like when Jets released, everyone was just like, oh my god, these are insane, they're impossible to kill, blah, 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 blah. And then now I feel like no one's talking about Jets because they're really not that big of a deal. So I'm curious what they do in the future. Maybe the Meteor sees a little bit of a ordnance nerf, and I think that would be okay, but we'll see. They say, we've also seen some comments wondering if this is the end of World War II due to the presence of jets. World War II is and will remain the focus of the game, and this won't be changing anytime soon. You guys know my opinions on this. I really do think Enlisted should be changing for World War II particularly soon, but there is still stuff to do, and I would say at least another year of World War II would be fine. But again, the developers are the ones developing the game, and I know this is a point of contention, and that's not the focus of this video. So at least the people who are happy to hear this get to hear it, and they get to know, if you're worried about that, then, there you go. Moving on to maps and missions. The developers say that they're happy about the increased popularity of CeeLo Heights. So that's good. I actually haven't been able to play CeeLo Heights since the changes. I would really like to. I always liked CeeLo Heights, generally speaking, and I would like to see... I don't get to see the map very often. Maybe it's because I just don't play a lot of Soviets at high BR. I don't know. So they're saying... They're also saying that there are more of these maps that need a facelift, particularly Kahif Cave Villages, which was beautiful. Please, God, change that fucking map. Holy shit. Some of you have now noticed famous developer Snowy W on the forums, who's actively reading comments on the forum in a special thread. If you're struggling into gameplay and maps, who is this? I don't know who this is. We encourage you to leave constructive and detailed thoughts. Do note that posting is not a guarantee of changes. So okay, so there's like a special thread. I guess I'll link this. Oh, I do remember seeing this. Okay, so I think Snowy... Okay, so Snowy is the developer. Okay, so that's cool. So I'll post the link to this, and you guys can see here. I guess Snowy is kind of helming the map part of the thing, and they're doing a lot of work on the map. That's pretty cool. Glad to hear that. So there you go. I'll leave a link to this down below, and you guys can get your hands on this and leave some information for Snowy. So that's pretty cool. Cool. Like to hear that. Regarding the testing expanded for BR Maps experiment. They said, thank you for participating. They get a grasp of this. I really liked this test. I thought this test was a good idea. I liked what they did. I liked having more maps. I don't know how the general community felt about that. I was out of town for a lot of that when I feel like a lot of that discussion happened, but I did get a taste a little bit of at least Tunisia at high BR, which I really enjoyed. So, proves it was necessary to undertake a test. The decision to put the test on the live server was not a light one. We cannot put it solely on the test server. Right, because then console can't play it, blah, blah, blah. We did not do an in-game event for similar reasons, as that would also take developer time. Therefore, an in-game test for 1 week is the best option. Devs will need some time to think about it and analyze the information. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. Again, I liked the change, and I don't know. I feel like... Sorry, this is going to go on a little bit of a tangent. For those of you who don't know, I have a background in game development. I went to college for game development, so like I don't presently work in game development, but I have experience with it, right? And so it's weird to me reading a lot of this because I'm just kind of like, yeah, like all this like perfectly makes sense. So I'm curious if other people are kind of like, oh yeah, this makes sense, or if this is kind of eye-opening for a lot of people, because to me it's not eye-opening. And so I'm curious if you guys are like, oh, wow, like I didn't really consider that being like why they would have done it this way. Like, I'm glad that they are really communicating that because that is a good thing, right? So, cool. On to the battle rating changes. They're saying, the former is something that we hope to do more often, changing the battle rating, right, of vehicles and weapons and things like that. And thanks to all of your appreciation, new ideas for second iteration. +1, -1 BR matchmaking is something we know we have wanted for a long time, which they're happy to implement with increasing success of the game. Really important to note that because a lot of people seem to continuously be talking about how Enlisted is actively dying, which is not true. If anything, it is the exact opposite. Enlisted is only growing and getting bigger and better as of right now. So hopefully, again, the devs doing this is going to put a lot of that to bed. They know there's more than can be done, but they're glad to see that it's appreciated. Oh yeah, they made it to where you can the camouflage and the customization and stuff like that. One thing being that they said oh, these improvements require a high level of intricacy. Interesting. See, that's really fascinating to me. I thought that might be the case. I think that the way that they had to implement this is probably really awkward and the game wasn't built to originally do this. Because like one thing I noticed is that if you apply a camouflage to a vehicle, it actually changes the name of the vehicle, which I'm guessing means internally it's changing the actual vehicle itself, rather than just applying a different texture to it, which I'm guessing is a consequence of the old campaign system and just the way the game is actually built on an underlying level, which sucks, right? Like that's really rough for them to, and that explains why it's such a high level of intricacy. So that sucks on the developer's part, and that's just a consequence of how the game is built, and that's something that they have to work around. They said there's two main things to pick up from their comments, one being that they would prefer a way to match it to the campaign. and to avoid situation where your white APC for Moscow is in the desert, right? Okay, so they're going to try to find a way to do something about that. And then, you know, there's always room for more, which is great. I've been a big customization fan for a long time. Roadmap. They're gonna talk about the roadmap. This is the roadmap as we currently have it. This is everything that's been done. Awesome. This is a roadmap from, I believe, 2023. Also updated. Is there another roadmap down here? No. Okay. Sad. Maybe they're about to say that. We'll see. So they're just, this is what we've got here. So new front line. I thought they had a new front line. Wouldn't this be Malaysia? Not Malaysia. Manila? Wouldn't this have been Manila? Doesn't this count? Doesn't Manila count for this? Okay. Anyway, so they don't have the preferred map system, rules for groups, deserter penalties, all this stuff. Yeah, they're definitely missing on these, and I would like a lot of these. I think they're great to have. So what's coming next? Developers understand that one of the most desired roadmaps features a preferred map. It's also what the community of quoted is very important. They want to add more freedom and influence what maps you play. Developers have placed a priority on this, and it's in its internal testing stage. Awesome. That's really sick. So they're going to be adding the preferred map system here soon. That's really good to hear. That's awesome. I really love that. They're going to talk about it in a different dev blog. It will have a like and a dislike option, and a banned ability is also being considered. So you could basically say like, hey, I really don't like playing in Berlin. I don't want to play Berlin. Please don't give me Berlin games. And I really like playing on D-Day. So can I please play on D-Day? And it will, you know, increase your chances. So it's, you know, say you have a 1 in 3 chance to get Berlin. Now you have a 1 in 4 chance or whatever if you dislike it. Obviously, those aren't the exact numbers, but that's what they seem to be saying. And then a ban where you can say, oh, I don't want to play on any of these maps because they suck. We'll see the consequences of that. There are some unintended consequences that could pop up, but it's in a dev blog later, so that's cool. We hope to release the reworking rules for groups. Good. As well as penalties for deserters and the preferred map system at the same time as the preferred map system. So cool. It'll be a triple whammy. I love that. Triple whammy. I don't think the developers said that. I think that's Major McDonald communicating that. Triple whammy. Is that an Eastern European? Is that a phrase in Eastern Europe? I don't know. Maybe it is. I would assume that's an English phrase, though. Anyway, I like that. We'll hope to do a lot for the game experience, and they're working on bringing it forward. And they're also working on inviting friends to ongoing battles, but that's taking a lot longer than they thought, so they're going to do something more important first. Cool. Ability to change soldier voices. People really want that. They're going to do one step further than what was originally intended and give the ability to change the nationality of their soldiers through adjusting their voice, name, and head. Their head. Oh, so you can change nationality. Cool. You can just be like, this guy is different. That's really cool. This will not be available for gold troops. Duh. There you go. Promises. It still plans promises, but to avoid making this dev blog even longer, they picked out one of the most important ones. So that's cool. Good stuff. They went back. They were like, hey, this is the stuff we didn't get to. This is what we're working on. We're going to have it soon. Awesome. Okay. AI. This is a very complex topic. There's a lot of changes coming up. The developers have, for now, identified 9 main areas listed below, all representing consistent causes of frustration among players, and how popular these are in the community. Developers are having to put some focus here. So these are the 9 things that they've identified are the big things that people want fixed about the AI. Randomly rushing forward ahead of the player. Yes. Walking in front of the player when aiming or shooting. Yes. AI interfering with an engineer constructing a structure. Yes. I will say these 2 do not happen too often, but what I will say is that the problem is that I believe, and I could be wrong about this, guys, but I believe that the logic they have that's currently implemented is that your AI squad mates know of where you are, and they will not mess with you while you're building stuff. However, other people's squads do not have an idea of who you are and who the player is, and so they will walk in front of you. Because I don't really have a problem with my AI interfering with me for the most part. They will move after a second, even if they rarely do. I do, however, have a lot of problems with enemy or friendly AI that are not my squad, but are a friendly squad who do fuck with me on this one. So, yeah. AI extinguishing themselves rather than moving away from the fire. Yeah. Flicks towards player in an unnatural way. Yeah, a little bit. Shooting through opaque assets like bushes. I don't have this happen too often, but it does happen. General pathing, yeah. Not hiding behind cover adequately despite being commanded to. Not being able to successfully follow the player's path and picking a more dangerous route. I would say this is the absolute biggest thing I would complain about. Like, this is far and away the worst offender of this. So I will say, I don't know if this is the one that's the most frustrating. No, actually, I will say that. I think this has the biggest gameplay implications, which players may not be able to properly identify. But I think this is the biggest problem in terms of like making the game actually feel better. So I really do hope they work on this. 8 to 9 are other ongoing fights, which you may see some improvements. But due to their intricate nature, they can't be fixed. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because this is the most complicated, but is also the most important. So that's going to take some time. In the coming quality of life update, balance and experience requirements will arrive. Cool. And any legacy squads will also follow suit. Cool. A lot of players are going to be happy to hear about that. And then finally, we have the closing words. So, heartfelt thanks to everybody. New dev blog series. We'll also be changing our official Enlisted stream time. Oh, no. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I thought they were saying that they're just, like, totally changing it. It looks like they might be doing a... No, okay. So what I'm confused about here, I'll try to check with Major McDonald's on this. Are they saying that they're not going to be doing gameplay, or like he won't be doing gameplay anymore and he's just going to be talking about this, or is this going to be an additional stream? That's my question, because that's not really clear here. It sounds like from this part that they're changing the stream and they're going to be playing and just like streaming at this time, which is their normal stream. But then they say they're going to be talking on Friday evenings about the dev blog. So is it like, you know, are you doing both or are you just doing one? I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of information here, and this video is getting really, really long because this dev blog was really, really long. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to let you guys know and leave you. Leave a comment down below, guys. I'm sure the developers want to know about your feedback for this thing. And absolutely, you know, go on Reddit, go on the forums, go in Discord, join our community Discord, go all of those places so you can leave the feedback to the developers and let them know that this is a cool thing that they're doing, and ask some questions for the next time that they do this. And while you're, you know, doing that, if you could like and subscribe so you can see when the devs respond, and you can see my reactions and me talking about it. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.